Yo, today I'm going to be breaking down how to edit a music video from start to finish, and this knowledge can be applied to not just Adobe Premiere Pro and After Effects, but it can be applied to all editing software, but I'm going to be doing it inside of those two programs today. And this is a music video that I'm going to be editing for my buddy Xavier. The result will be at the end of the video, and Xavier and I have been making music videos, YouTube videos together for the last 5 or 6 years.
Last night was crazy.
So make sure to go subscribe to his channel and support him. But yeah, let's not waste any time and let's just get right into this tutorial. So the first thing that we have to go over is sequencing. So sequencing is just placing all of the clips together that create the music video. So we're going to be strategically placing these to make this look as good as it possibly can, placing them in here. So as you see here, I have a lot of footage here. You guys can film anywhere from like 3 to 4 takes, or you can do like 10 to 15 takes. Right here, I did around, I think like 10 takes and then some B-roll clips here. Enough talking, let's just drag this all in here. First thing that you're gonna do is sync up the audio. So I'm gonna drag the song in. So Premiere Pro is where I'm gonna be sequencing everything together, and then I'm gonna drop all of this into After Effects later and then add in all of the visual effects. And so that's where all the real sauce is. And so to match up these clips, you just have to listen to it. You have to listen to the music that's playing in the actual video itself and then match that up to the audio. But yeah, it's easy as that. And now I'm just gonna do that for all of these clips and then stack them all on top of each other. So now all of these are synced to the music really well. And now I'm just gonna go through and find the best parts of each clip. And so I just want to talk about how I filmed this a little bit and what I'm taking advantage of here. So this one over here, I left it over here because this is going to be a clone clip. So there's going to be a version of him over here and then a version of him over here as well. And I think I'm going to put some fire behind him. And that's why I filmed this on a tripod, so that I could do the clone clip, but also so that I could add some digital fire in there to make it look realistic. And then because I have this cool looking tree, I decided to get some B-roll of like some wood and stuff that I can edit in a cool way later, like this right here. And then as well, I got some cool quick shots of the forest tree. It just looks really Halloween-y to me. Pretty much you don't want your clips to be longer than like 2 or 3 seconds for each clip, and you want to utilize each piece of footage as much as possible, and you want them to be evenly distributed throughout the course of the music video. Okay, so now for the most part, I have all of these scenes lined up how I want them to. Before I export this out of After Effects, a little trick that you might want to know is you could right click on a clip and then click on replace with After Effects composition. But in my case, since most of these clips I'm going to be editing in After Effects, I'm just going to export the whole thing and drop it into After Effects. And so as you notice, this footage is looking pretty flat, so I'm going to do some color correction, but I'm not going to be doing a color grade yet. I'll do a color grade at the very end. So I'm going to add on some Lumetri color here, or you can just open up the Lumetri color tab and just edit it in here. Yeah, you really just want to make this look less flat. You want to bring out some of the colors, and you want to really just correct the whites and the blacks. So, you know, you can bring up the whites a little bit, bring down the blacks. And then I'll just like maybe bring down the shadows a little bit. Nothing too crazy. You don't want to mess with this too much. Okay, perfect. So now that I have that done, I'm going to go up here to my export tab, and I'm going to choose for preset match source adaptive high bitrate, and then I'll check render at maximum, use maximum render quality, and then I'm just going to export this usually around 60 or 65. Add VRB 1 pass and click export, and that's going to be pretty much the best possible export settings. You can go higher, like you can boost up the bitrate all the way to like 300 in some cases, and when you upload that to YouTube, that will be in 4K quality, which is 2160 by 3840. So I'm going to drag the video into my comp. Now the quickest way that you can chop all of these clips up is to right click, go to scene edit detection, and split layer at scene edit, click OK. And then you can also check create pre-comps, which would put every single individual clip into a pre-comp already, which actually is useful sometimes, but usually I don't do that. And if you guys don't know what a pre-composition is, it's basically like if I had a bunch of layers right here, say I had a bunch of layers and I wanted to put them all into one layer, I would just pre-comp them, and now it's just one layer. But what's nice is if you double click on this, you now have access to all those layers, and then you can go in and out of that comp. like as you can see. And so you can edit a bunch of different things inside of this, and it just keeps your work area really clean. But yeah, so scene edit detection usually takes just like 10 seconds to work, which is super useful. And then now it's important to keep in mind the quality that you're editing in. A lot of beginners make the mistake of editing in full quality the entire time that they're working, which is going to basically make you work 10 times harder. It's going to take 10 times longer. When you're editing in quarter quality, the quality is at 25% basically, which is also going to make your render time 75% faster. So the first effect that I'm going to do on this is I'm going to add in a 3D title. So if you guys have Blender or Element 3D within After Effects, you can do this. Or if you don't have any software like that, or if you don't have After Effects, or you don't know how to animate 3D stuff, feel free to check out the complete 3D title pack on my website, which has 10 unique 3D titles that I animated all separately. I really like this one. I like how it comes in. It's really smooth. It's just like high quality as well, high quality reflections and textures and everything on there. So what I'll do is I'll just drag in the letters to a word. So the first word is never, and then I'll just bring the scale down and then drag these over, and this looks super clean. And if you don't like how both of these E's are kind of animated the same way, if you did want some more variation, you could just right click on that E, go to time stretch, and then set it to something faster or slower if you want. So I'm going to do like 130, which makes it just a little bit slower. And then you get something that looks like that. I'm just going to go ahead and pre-comp all of these together. And you can do that by doing Control-Shift-C. The key to editing music videos is speed. So I create a lot of keyboard shortcuts. So for example, for pre-composing, instead of right-clicking and clicking on move all attributes in a new composition every time, I just Control-Shift-C just like that, and it brings it up automatically. Instead of like click, pre-compose, click, you know what I mean? Like, it's just so much easier, just Control-Shift-C. And if you guys want to create those keyboard shortcuts, you just go up to Edit, Keyboard Shortcuts, and then you can set those down here. So this next clip right here, I'm going to rotoscope out this little chain right here. So I'm going to duplicate the layer, go to the first frame, double click on the layer, go to my roto tool, and then just start rotoing this out. And I'm just going to paint this out. Now, rotoscoping is really simple. I'm not going to go fully in depth on how to do this, but there's tons of tutorials out there for how to do this. So I usually just boost up the feather a bit, take down the shift edge, and then turn on motion blur to decontaminate edge colors. And then I'm going to add on CC light sweep to this layer, and this can get a really cool effect where you're going to create this shine effect on this, as you can see here. So you're going to click on center at one point in the roto, and then later you're just going to bring it over just like that. And if you want to make this real bright, you can just increase sweep intensity and make that as bright or as dim as you want. And then also something I recommend as you're editing too is click B on your keyboard to bring the render space to wherever your cursor is at. And then same by pressing N, that's going to bring the end of your render space to wherever your cursor is. And now it's only going to render out what's inside of this square. And that's really useful when you're editing large projects like this. Like, as you can see, this is a 1 minute long edit right here, which it can be really annoying. After Effects is constantly trying to render out all of that. So definitely, I want you guys to watch this entire video to pick up on all of the little things that I'm doing. You're going to learn so many different shortcuts and all that. So yeah, let's just get it, man. And then I'm just gonna ease those keyframes by highlighting them, pressing F9, make that just happen a little bit slower maybe. And then as well, I'm gonna add on some deep glow. You can use the built-in glow, but deep glow is definitely where it's at. And then I'll just keyframe this in when that wipe is going through, make it a little bit brighter at like 0.3 maybe, and then bring it back down to 0. And finally, I'm just gonna add on some sapphire flicker. Guys, I'm not trying to go at your pace. I'm trying to go at my pace. I want you to match my pace. I don't want you to worry about keeping up with me. I want you to just watch me and just like understand the speed that I have. And like, I'm not even paying attention to like what I'm doing. It's almost just like automatic because I've done this so many times. Yo, so this channel's slogan is editing made easy. My goal is to save you time and save you money while helping you deliver the best product to your clients. That's why there's tons of free editing packs on my website, and where I'm also introducing you to the most cohesive, complete editing bundle on the market. Let's presets, sound effects, animations, 3D assets, every transition you can think of. I've been working with some of the best professionals in the editing industry to create the best time-saving assets out there. And now you can get over 3,000 editing assets in just one purchase, and it's literally 70% off right now. And use this code for another 20% off. So that's enough yapping. Let's just get right back into this. And so for this clip right here, I'm gonna do this little trick that I really like to use with my texture pack. So I'm just gonna duplicate the overlay a few times like that, split it at the end, and then I'm going to pre-comp everything together just like this, and then set this to screen, and then I'm just gonna bring the opacity down a bit on this background layer. I'll bring up the contrast just to make it look a little bit more papery, and then I'm going to pre-comp these two layers together, add on another Lumetri color, and then maybe increase the shadows a bit. And as you can see, that gives a really like papery kind of grainy texture to it. So on this clip right here, I'm going to go ahead and add on a CRT effect. So what I'll do to get that CRT look is I'm going to use an effect called CRT emulator. So I'll go up to my window, go to extensions, go to CRT emulator, and that's just going to bring up this right here. And if you want to dock this, you can just drag this over to there like that. And this has a bunch of cool CRT styles in here, and you can see like a little preview of what it looks like. I really like style 11, so I'm going to go ahead and click style 11, click apply effect, and real quickly it's just going to give you that look, and you can choose the rectangle or circle look. I think I like the rectangle, and then if you boost up the resolution, it actually makes the resolution worse. So I like bringing it over to the left more, and then if you boost up the exposure, you're going to get that kind of CRT look, and it's going to give a bit of a delay with this style as well. I like to boost up the noise level. I like to add on glitches, and that looks amazing. And then you can add on the border if you like, which I think I will, and then you could bring up the vibrance or bring that vibrance all the way down. I like to just leave that at 0. And then sharpness you could bring up all the way as well. You could add a bit of glow, but I don't like to do that, so I'll click complete. And then now we have this really clean CRT effect in there, and then it looks just a little bit bland, so I'm going to add on some CRT textures from the complete CRT pack on my website. So there's 50 textures in here and 50 overlays in here, and so this texture right here is one of my favorites. So I'm just going to drag this over, change that to screen, and bring that over, and I think that just makes it look a lot better. And you can duplicate this, make it a little bit stronger, and you can do this also over regular footage. You don't have to add the CRT emulator. I think it just gives an extra kind of oomph to it, and it's like a really heavy effect, which is what I'm going for here. And so now I'm just going to go ahead and recomp these, click OK, and then I'll add on some Lumetri color, and then just bring all of those colors together. Maybe just blast up the exposure just a little bit more, or the whites, just to really get that CRT look. Another thing you could do is you could add on optics compensation, and then just increase the field of view a little bit to get kind of that like curvature look that old TVs have. And then you could increase the scale, zoom it in just like that. So right before the CRT clip, I'll put in this transition right here. I'll set it to either screen or overlay. Then I'll just duplicate it so it's a little bit thicker. And then I will pre-comp this. And then I'll pre-comp the two layers underneath it because I'm transitioning from this clip into this clip. And I'm just going to rename this layer glitch transition. And then on this layer right underneath it, I'll add on the built-in displacement map effect. And then for the input, I'll just set that to the glitch transition. And then now I can sort of create a little glitch right here. And then I can keyframe this out at the end of that, back down to 5. And then same with on the other end. So it looks like this. So it looks like it's actually glitching into the clip, which I think looks really good. And then on this, I'm just going to bring down the colors a little bit. I'll bring down the saturation to like 70. Okay, so next I'm going to do this little teleportation effect. So basically this is my clean plate. So I just recorded this on a tripod, and I got one shot where the parking lot is empty. And then I filmed a bunch of shots of him, one in the middle, one on the left, and one on the right. And then right here, I have this pack from Action VFX. This is a free pack. I'll have this linked down in the description, and I'll just drag this in right here. and it looks like this. And this is really perfect for like teleportation effects. And if you guys want a full in-depth tutorial on teleportation effects, I'll leave that up on the screen on either end here. I did a really long tutorial on how to do this and execute it perfectly, but I'll just do like a little rough overview right now. So I'll set this to screen, and you could set that to overlay as well. And basically you're just going to time this so that it's revealing your subject right here. So I'll just blast this up and then rotate it to a point where it looks cool. I think maybe like that, just to where it's like covering him, you know, and then you can add like a shake here. But like I said, you know, if you guys want to make this look much better than this, watch that full tutorial, and then I'll use this one to reveal the next guy, just like this. And now I'm just going to create an adjustment layer and add on a shake right there. And I'm actually going to make those shakes really slight, so you have something that looks like this so far. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to pre-comp all of those layers together that I just used the teleportation effect on. And then sort of as the first guy is disappearing, I'm going to use this to then zoom in to the next guy right here. And the key right here is using the anchor point. So I'm just going to bring the anchor point up there, and that's going to make the zoom in a lot more smooth. So then I'm going to easy ease these keyframes by highlighting them and pressing F9. Or you can right click, go to keyframe assistant and click easy ease. Then I'll just open up my graph editor, and this is where the real sauce is. I'm just going to make this smooth like that. And so you got something that looks like this. And then now what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to roto brush him out and then just put fire behind him. So I'll show you guys how to do that on this clip over here. So on this clip, I'm actually going to clone him. So there's one of him over here on the left and then one of him over here on the right. And this is super easy. If you guys don't know how to do this, you just make a mask and then boom, that's it. And then if you want to blend it, if it's just barely off, you're going to double tap M on your keyboard to bring up the mask, and then just increase the mask feather, and there you go. And as you can see here, it's bleeding in over a little bit. So what you got to do is, you know, just move it over just like that. You can do rotoscopes on pre-comp layers, but I don't like doing that. So I like to actually render my clip out and then rotoscope on top of it. And I'm just going to place these behind him right here. And then finally, to get these transitions right here that you see up on the screen, I'm going to be using the fast movement effects pack by Tiny Tapes. I really like how these look. It's kind of like the last thing that every video needs, I feel like, because as you watch this music video, there's a lot of like, you know, pauses. These are short little cuts, you know, they're only 2 to 3 seconds long, but sometimes it just feels a little bit too long at certain points, and it's almost like a little bit awkward. So I think adding in the fast movement effects transitions in here really just tops it all off. And by the way, those work with Premiere Pro and Adobe After Effects. So if you guys are interested in using those, that's linked down in the description as well. And if you buy anything from my store or from Tiny Tape store, it really helps support the channel. I appreciate it. So for this next effect, we're going to be going over these mixed media style effects, which are really awesome. And believe it or not, this is actually done completely digitally. So none of this uses any actual paper mixed media effects. So before we add on this effect, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go ahead and rotoscope out my guy right here just real quick using Roto 3.0. It doesn't have to be super perfect, and in fact you can actually make this rough on purpose. And I'm not even going to track this, honestly. I'm just going to hit freeze and just let that do its thing. So now I have something that looks like this. I'll just duplicate that layer and then get rid of the roto on the background layer, just increase the feather a little bit. But like I said, it doesn't even have to be good or anything. And then next, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to drag in this little paper sun that I got from Google and just scale that up. And then I'm just going to put on the Luma key and have it key out brighter, and then just increase the threshold just to get rid of that white. And actually we could leave in just a little bit. I think that's kind of cool looking. And then we could have this rotate if we want, like keyframe in some rotation. So yeah, I'll keyframe this to kind of rotate like that, just a little bit, drag out the keyframe. And we can go ahead and turn on motion blur. And yeah, so this plugin that I'm going to be using right here is called the MXM plugin by Fred Pele. This is a really good extension. And right now, before I add on that extension, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add on the free doodles pack that was made also by Fred Pele. This has a bunch of cool little doodles in here that you can just drag in. For example, my favorite one is this circle. This looks really good in the extension, and we can just kind of add these in sporadically in random places. I think I'll do behind him over the sun, just like that. So we can have something like that. And then as well, we can have this kind of be like in the corner over here, down here maybe. And then as well, I'm going to pre-comp this layer, and then I'm going to have this do some sporadic little movements. So I'll just randomly kind of enlarge it over here, you know, just so it's not just staying in one spot, but it's kind of fidgeting like that. And then as well, I really like this signature. I think this will go up in the top left hand corner, and yeah, there we go. So now what I'll go ahead and do is I'm just going to pre-comp all of this together. Now I'll go up to window, go to extensions, add on the MXM plugin, and I like to dock my plugins and extensions, so it just pops up right here. Once you click on your layer, you're just going to click fetch comps, and that's going to bring up comp 1. That's what this is. You'll just click launch. And there we go. Within just one click, I mean, that looks crazy, bro. Come on, tell me not. Let's click through some styles here, find what we like. I think all of these look pretty crazy. I really like the first one. I really like this first one. I think this first one just really makes those colors kind of pop. And this really does look like paper to me. And I'm going to go ahead and click posterize on. Posterize time just kind of gives it that more stuttery feel. So instead of having the refresh rate kind of at the normal 30 FPS, you can bring that all the way down to 8 FPS, 12 FPS, or 15 FPS. I think at the lowest looks probably the best. Then you can turn on or off flicker. You can turn on or off damage. I like to leave damage on just by enabling that little button right here. That just gives some extra, you know, scratches and whatnot. And then as well, you definitely want to make sure that you have shake on, because it's going to give it that more papery animation kind of feel to it. As you increase or decrease look, it changes the feel of the effect. So when you mess with the look slider, it kind of messes with the exposure, the saturation, the contrast a bit. There's definitely a lot going on here. Let's turn it up all the way, see what that does. I think actually turning it down on this one looks kind of crazy. Yeah, I really like that. Something like that, somewhere around halfway. And then you're just going to click confirm, and there you go, you're done. So now you can render this out. And yeah, now you have something that looks like this. And if you guys like this look, make sure to check out the link in the description. It really helps out my channel, and it helps out Fred Pelle's channel as well. And then as well, as you can see on this effect right here, I used some text animation effects from my paint pack on my website. Make sure to check that out as well. And if you guys want a free little sample pack to that pack, you can also check that out on my channel, or sorry, on my website as well.
Never trust a bitch who's born on her birthday. They always do it the worst way. Last one said that she wasn't gon' hurt me, and now my heart broke me the first day. Never trust a bitch who's born on her birthday. They always do it the worst way. Last one said that she wasn't gon' hurt me, and now my heart broke me the first day. She put it to me to get her a jersey. She come around gang and get thirsty. Fuck all these bitches, they always desert me. Don't none of these bitches deserve me. I was down bad in the past, I was hurting, but now a young nigga earned it. Niggas be talking that shit, they ain't worth it, cause none of them on it in person. Never trust a bitch who's born on her birthday. They always do it the worst way. Last one said that she wasn't gon' hurt me, and now my heart broke me the first day. Never trust a bitch who's born on her birthday. They always do it the worst way. Last one said that she wasn't gon' hurt me, and now my heart broke me the first day.
But yeah, that's going to do it for this one, guys. I really appreciate y'all for tuning in, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace out.